Alright, this is our last Teddy and Taft, and you can see here Taft's actually double crosses Teddy, maybe per se. Taft was his vice president, and so in 1908, Teddy Roosevelt decides, I'm not going to run for president. I'm going to step down and basically have my two-term tradition. Gives the country over to William Howard Taft. Alright, so in 1908, the whole idea is, you can see there, Teddy's policies, the Balancing Act, the whole thing was this guy would carry on the idea of Teddy Roosevelt, and Teddy Roosevelt could go doing what he wanted. Now, neat thing about William Howard Taft, well, a couple things. Number one, he's the only president we've ever had, only man we've ever had, who served in all three branches of the federal government. Not at the same time, it's impossible, but he was a senator, he was a president, and later in life he was a Supreme Court justice. Kind of cool. The other thing is just kind of weird story. He also got stuck in the bathtub at the White House. He's a fairly large man, and so that's what he's saying there. I did all these great things, and the only thing you see and remember about me is the darn bathtub. But I'm giving you both sides. I don't remember both. All right. Now, one of the first things we have under Taft is the Ballinger-Pinochet affair. Senator Ballinger and Gifford Pinochet, who Teddy Roosevelt put in charge of this whole forest system. The short of it is this: Pinochet ends up getting fired because he didn't listen to Ballinger, and so he's kind of flexing his muscle. And Teddy's pretty upset because he put this man in charge of the Forest Service, and Taft saw that he got fired, didn't really do anything about it, okay? Now, Taft is also going to be a big supporter of the Payne-Aldrich tariff. The Payne-Aldrich tariff called for lower tariffs, taxes on imports. It was to provide American industrialists with cheap raw materials. Because of compromises, it did not. And again, if you go back to that idea of conservatives versus liberals, they wanted lower tariffs. Teddy was kind of a mixture of both, I guess. He actually wanted higher tariffs, and so he felt like Taft had betrayed the American people. Now, the other thing that's kind of weird here, Taft has an interesting obligation, interesting kind of connection, if you will, with Canada. And Canada basically feels like you only want something when we're going through something good. And that's kind of true, I guess. We don't really hear about Canada much in the news today, except for the fact that they had legalized free health care before we did, and how did they do it, and we looked to them, all right? Now, as I said, Roosevelt felt like this man here. He felt betrayed by Taft, and so he's going to decide to do something that was really, really kind of hush-hush and no-no, and that is break the two-term tradition. George Washington only ran for president twice. We call it the two-term tradition. There have been a couple presidents to try to run for a third term. Teddy decides, I'm going to run for a third term. Okay? So he will run for a third term. However, Taft's the incumbent. He's the Republican, and he can't run as a Democrat, so what does he do? He does in true fashion what Teddy Roosevelt would have done with anything: make his own political party. Now, it was called the Progressive Party, but slangily we also called it the Bull Moose Party. Why? One day, Teddy Roosevelt was hunting, and he said, I feel as strong as a bull moose, which is the male moose. And so it stuck, a Bull Moose Party. And so in 1912, we have three big men running for one spot as president. And we're going to see in the next video, you'll look at tomorrow, about Wilson and what happened in that election. All right? There you go. Take the quiz.